Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the last lesson for this week. I don't know about you, but for me, the topic this week was a heavy one, and yet maybe one of the most important studies we can engage in. Once again, in today's lesson, we are reminded that God's divine justice did not happen without first providing a warning. It's not like God brought the children to the promised land and decided to deal out death and destruction in order to clear a path for his people. That's not how it happened. The lesson first reminds us that the offer of salvation and redemption was first given to the inhabitants of Canaan. Think about this. Not only were they offered redemption, but they were given 400 years to act on that offer and to turn from evil. Again, they were given a warning and a way of escape. In other words, they had a choice and ample time to act on that choice. Instead, the Bible says that they reached a point where their cup was filled with iniquity. This is the Bible's way of saying that they had reached a point of no return, that they had reached a point where their minds were so corrupt that they were now beyond the point, of saving. That like the people of Noah's day, that every thought that went through their minds was evil. In other words, all they could think about was how to use, abuse, or exploit other people. So much so that rape and murder and demon worship became a way of life. Nobody was safe and nobody was innocent. Not even the children. And time and again, God warned them that one day that he would come and put a stop to their evil, and they had a choice. Turn from doing evil or die with it. And once again, we're reminded that nobody had to die. Ellen White paints a scene, for us in the great controversy. Jesus comes to sit on his throne, to judge the nations. All he has to do is look at the lost, and they are instantly reminded of the sin that they chose to cling to. And we are told that if you look up just above Christ's throne, hanging there is the cross. Why the cross? Because the cross reminds us that God preferred redemption over judgment. The cross reminds us that through Jesus we have a way of escape, and that because of the cross, nobody had to die. The cross reminds us that if people are lost, it's not because God wanted it, it's because people chose it. Well, those were our final thoughts and nuggets for this week. Now, we want you to take some time this week to visit your local Adventist church and share with them some of the things you've learned this week about how God fights for you. And please, don't forget to join us next week as Dr. Bronny will share with us some of his thoughts and insights into next week's lesson, The Enemy Within. I know you're going to be tremendously blessed. Again, on behalf of all of us here at Sabbath School Nuggets, thank you for joining us this week. Happy Sabbath to come, and we'll see you next week.